Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another night of racing action here on VidaneTV. Currently, the NEP SuperTruck Series is under qualifications. We'll get a timing leaderboard up for all of you ladies and gentlemen at home. Joining me in the booth tonight is going to be Aaron Creed. Aaron is a regular with the series, usually calling the races alongside Paul. Paul is currently in Kid Rock's bar somewhere in downtown Nashville shooting a real world show. So you've got me and Aaron in the booth here tonight.
Yeah, I'll try. I'm not going to be able to do the good evening that Paul does here, what that Showtime does. Don't know if I have enough energy for that, but good to have you with us. Introduce yourself as well to the viewers that aren't familiar with you. Before we get a lineup here, I see you brought that up. We're getting ready to go here at Rockingham Speedway for the second race of the NEP season.
Yeah, so I've been doing this iRacing stuff on and off here for a couple of years. I was doing it for a while with Chris Graham on the National Racing Network, doing a lot of the open wheel style stuff. We were with the Tuesday Night Thunder PM18 series for a couple of years, did a couple of their special events. And we were really big into the Super Crowns, or Silver Crowns, the sprint cars, all of the really weird niche cars that aren't really popular in iRacing. That was kind of our gig, and it's kind of weird to be doing something that's popular. These trucks are possibly the most popular things on the iRacing service.
That indeed they are, Bizzle. We're just going to call you Bizzle for this broadcast, as Paul has referred you as.
Yeah,
so,
just about everyone calls me Bizzle, so Bizzle works.
All right, so we got Bizzle and Aaron Creed here, and we're going to try to bring in some drivers when we go checkered here eventually. Ryan Messer set the fast time in qualifying, and he's one of our drivers to watch. Started second and led the most laps and had the fastest race lap here last season, as we had a 110 lap event last year. I think we went into overtime a couple times in last year's event. So a lot going on here. We see Brent Roy, Ryan Libby, Steve Daddio, Johnny Miller, Dale Glessner. All those guys were at Daytona for last week's race with a variation of mixed results. Steven Daddio got off to a great start in a photo finish at Daytona last week. I don't know if you had a chance to go back and look at that, but that was a thriller all the way to the end.
I have not, but with the way you're with the way you're describing it, and Daytona being Daytona, it's got to be just a fantastic show, especially in these trucks.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we had a pretty clean show as well. We had a couple. We had a mishap coming on and off pit road, and we had another one under green. On I think through the tri-oval or something like that. But we always have relatively clean races that occur. We're getting ready to roll off for tonight's race at Rockingham Speedway. It's the second time the series has gone here, and it's the 99th official NEP Grand National Series race. So we're going to hit the 100 Club next week's event. So that's going to be pretty exciting. But before we can do that, we're going to get underway with the Adams Photo and Film 100 on this narrow 1 mile D-shaped oval, as we see some more of the lineup going on. Colby Burkholder, Joey Dwyron, Jeffrey Bradway, Kenny Kibbe, good to have him back. I know he ran the duels at Daytona, but was a little missing in action. He's a former champion of this series, Kenny Kibbe is, so he'll be one to watch there from the 10th starting spot. Mario Ercolani, a rookie in the series, and Michael Hopkins starting in 12th. And the field's getting ready. They're rolling off on the pace lap as we continue to go deeper into the field. Dan Winter had a good run going at Daytona last week. We see Austin Belke, Bobby Shipp, Brandon Newhouse, Corey Casagrande, Jason Ricker. And we've got a pretty good field of competitors here for tonight. Jared Adams, I know he was excited for Daytona. Unfortunately, had some issues, wasn't able to make the green. John Peters, he's a 3-time champ in this series, but he's starting all the way back in 24th.
Yeah, total field of 26 cars here tonight. Scott McDonald and Brian Shipp rounding out your field. Lights are still on the pace car. I believe they do 2 pace laps here at Rockingham. But just a fantastic circuit of racing. And Yep, pace car is going to stay out, so we're going to get another lap here. I remember the old races where you had Matt Kenseth. I believe he won for the first time here in 2003.
Oh, yeah, that was a thriller in the Busch Series back in the day. I think it was against Tony Stewart, if
Yeah.
I remember correct.
Two guys that were still young in their career at that point and frankly managed to make... I think both of them are in the Hall of Fame at this point, or definitely will be in the coming years.
Yeah, for sure. And, but yeah, there's a lot going on. And I'm going to have to add one thing, though. You're going to have to add $1 to the jar like Paul does several times each week by saying these are cars rather than trucks. But
Oh, man, that's right.
at some point. But yeah, we've added quite a few to that jar. Maybe that's what Paul took over to the Kid Rock's bar where he's at tonight in Nashville. So he's having a real good time. We're having a good time here. We're about to, as we're getting ready to throw the green flag and get these 26 trucks underway.
Yeah, I don't know how Paul usually runs these shows, but what I'm used to, the first lap is all the fans. We're going to crank it up, and you guys just enjoy the music.
Yeah, our green flag is out, and they're going to roar into turn one. As you can see, as they're continuing to roar, look at this camera angle here coming down the stripe. Ryan Messer's going to lead the first lap. Kind of a deja vu from last year, pretty much. Messer finished 13th, but led 40 of the laps in last year's event. So he'll be one for sure to continue to watch throughout this event. 100 laps. We're going to have potentially 2 pit stops. The pit window is 45 to 58 laps, so it could be on one end or the other. They can make it approximately 60 laps on fuel, but you're going to want tires at this place. 2 extra sets of tires are provided. This is the Rockingham that is not the freshly paved Rockingham, so it's going to be one to watch for sure.
Yeah, this track surface, I think iRacing scanned it in 2010, 2011, and this track has been not used since, 2004, 2005, so it's been sitting under the sun, not being maintained up to the standard, at least, as some of the tracks that NASCAR runs each and every year, so very, very abrasive track surface here tonight.
Yeah, and we're gonna see probably some of these guys stretch out to begin with and get some laps underway here under green flag conditions. But you never know what can happen here at Rockingham. I think we're gonna have another one of those events where you might have some folks kind of you're gonna have to watch yourself coming down pit road, as it can get a little hairy when it does come time, if we make green flag pit stops. So that's always one thing to watch, getting those trucks woed down. Right now, Brent Roy is reeling in on Ryan Messer, though.
Yeah, Brent Roy closing the gap. Currently got good battles going on for the 10th position. As we take a look here with John Miller in the 6th car, Marco Ercolani in the 41. He was just to the outside. They get single file now as they come down the back straightaway. These guys were duking it out side by side for a little bit.
Yeah, this is his first season with the NEP series. With the way he runs, I'm sure he's got plenty of iRacing experience, but kind of the first time maybe racing with some of these folks. So it's kind of learning the different, not just the strategies, but just the different driving styles and everything. Just like if you were at actual Rockingham Speedway and we're on the track with a bunch of competitors, got to learn how each driver races as well as race the racetrack. And as you can see, once again, John Miller in the number 6. We didn't talk about him much last week until a little bit later in the race, and he's doing a good job. Mario Ercolani, I think that's a different truck scheme than I think he had a black truck at Daytona, so kind of switched things up a little bit in that 41. And yeah, good battles going on throughout the middle of this pack. Steven Daddio, though, turning up the heat on Brent Roy for second.
Yeah, getting side by side here in turns 1 and 2. Now going to be alongside the 26 of Brent Roy. Going to be a drag race down the back straightaway, what they call Thunder Alley here at Rockingham.
Yeah, I don't know if you've had a chance to go to Rockingham Speedway ever, but it's just a super place with so much history to it, and just, you know, there's just so much to see around that place that you kind of just can envision, like you said, like instances like where Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart were fighting for the win, or sometimes I remember from when I was really young with Kyle Petty dominating. I don't think we're going to see any domination here. Ryan Messer's been able to stretch the lead a little bit, but still only a few car lengths over Brent Roy. Daddy-O runs in third, as we see some other folks continuing to battle. Ryan Libby there in the fifth spot. So everyone's staying pretty much within striking distance for the time being.
Yeah, and especially with the way tire wear affects this place, I can't see him hanging on to that huge lead for very long, running this kind of pace. Last lap for Ryan Messer was a 24.825. The rest of the field is about 2 or 3 hundredths off of that, so everyone running about the same pace, and clean air might be helping him a little bit, but I don't think anyone can keep up the pace for this long.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the lap times continue to fall off as time goes on. We got a couple trucks already out of the event, according to scoring. Jared Adams and I think that was one of the Ship brothers. So I'm not sure what exactly happened there. Kind of unfortunate. We've got a couple drivers out of the race pretty early, but a lot going on right here. And right now we're joined by... How's it going, Reggie Parent?
It's pretty good. We're here with Keith Lord. Been able to make it the first couple weeks. Been having some race going on still down south, so...
Good to have you guys in the room here. So
It must be nice to be down south. Racing extends into the wintertime, if not almost year-round. Up here in the great state of Ohio, the Buckeye State, we are expecting a couple inches of snow here on Monday, so time to get out the snowmobiles and get to plowing.
What do we got? John Miller making a pass on Joey Dwyron.
Yeah, John Miller makes his way up to the 9th position. Joe Dwyron gonna fight back here in the turn number 3, though, taking the low line.
yeah, I don't know if you guys had a chance to tune in last week at Daytona. I know you guys were missing in action on the racetrack itself, unfortunately. But yeah, some differences. I kind of missed the bluey scheme on Joey's car, but he's got, I just said car, it's a truck. But he's got that 773D on the side, just like his super late models now. So, but it does still say "Oh Biscuits" on the back of it. So there's definitely maybe we can get maybe Bluey can get him towards the front, just like he was a couple times last year.
Yeah, definitely need to bring the Bluey scheme back. Ryan Messer's still leading.
Yeah, Ryan Messer extending his lead out to half a second now over second place Brent Roy. You can see he's got the entire restart zone there on the front stretch as a gap to second place.
Top two guys really good at managing tires. I got to believe that Daddy-O still got more in the tank, though, out of all these two. These top three, I think Daddy-O's the guy that I would pick.
Yeah, he's one of them that's always there towards the end, that's for sure. And he showed that again last week at Daytona. And these are, if I'm remembering correctly, my short-term memory is always worse than my long-term memory. Daddy-O's our most recent NEP champion, so he's kind of going for the defense like John Peters did a few years back on a couple occasions.
Yeah, no doubt. He's been the guy to beat really the last 2 years, even when John won. I think Daddy-O was still probably right there. He's always quick, especially at these places where you got to save tires. He always just seems to find a way to be there at the end.
Yeah, definitely. And right now he's putting on the pressure to Brent Roy, and that's one of those things where he's kind of playing the offense right now, and Brent Roy maybe a little bit playing the defense, and you don't want to play the defense too much at a track like this, I'm sure.
Speaking of playing the defense, it looks like we have a battle heating up for the 4th position with Kenny Kibbe.
Oh yeah, Kenny's another one of those to watch. He started back in 10th, and I know he missed the Daytona show last week, so he's one of them that's kind of marching back up towards the front. He's going to need a long string of strong runs to get back into championship contention. It's a little too early to talk about that, really, but But yeah, we've got a lot going on for sure right now. There's Ryan Libby. We always say it every year. Kibby and Libby end up right there together.
Yeah, the two Ibbies always running together.
We're excited for hopefully Reggie and I can get back on track here soon once racing settles down. We got New Smyrna next week. Then I believe we got a week off before Derby where we can probably race, hopefully, and get those two Icon trucks back out front. It looks like Icon struggling a little bit today, but hopefully with the two best cars of the shop, we can come back stronger.
Yeah, are you guys down in Nashville this week, or are you guys just kind of at the home base chilling?
Well,
We're in Nashville this week.
There you are.
yeah, currently on our way to Nashville, having some technical difficulties in the toter home as we're in high gears.
So we got
Hopefully get that straightened out.
we got updates all over the place. Yeah, Dale Glessner in that number 10 truck. Well, it's numbered 10 on the scoring. We got that. We were a little thrown off last week because he's running that number 1 on the side. But Dale Glessner doing his thing, moving up towards the front. He's been one of our hard luck drivers for sure over the last few seasons. I think he's still seeking that first victory, if I remember correctly. Corey Casagrande moving up too. He had some bad luck at Daytona, and of the technical kind. So he seems to be running quite better. So now he moves under John Miller down Thunder Alley.
Corey was fast yesterday in practice. Surprised he had a little bit of trouble qualifying. That's been his strong suit last couple weeks. Last couple races for NEP is qualifying up front, but he was fast yesterday in practice. Said he qualified 19th, so that was a little bit of a surprise. It's going to be hard here. This is just a tough place to go through traffic. Track position is so important. It's so hard to pass, especially to make that pass work in 1 and 2.
Yeah, Corey sometimes hit or miss there in qualifying, as I'm sure a lot of folks are. I know he's a bigger fan of qualifying than he is of heat races in real life. So I don't know. He might have no excuse here for that qualifying run. But mid pack, still some good battles going on here. Mike Hopkins, Jason Ricker, Colby Burkholder, Mario Ercolani, all battling for position here. Hopkins slipping back a little bit. Here comes Colby Burkholder. Might try to make it 3 wide. But he's going to back off just...
Thinks better of it here with 27 laps so far in this race. It's a little early to be making huge moves like that, especially in a place as narrow as Rockingham.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we saw Colby Burkholder got a little loose there. And even Hopkins got... I think he might have brushed the part of that safer barrier, too. And so... now we got some...
Big contact here up front.
I think that's Glessner and Casagrande.
I gotta believe that started with John Miller and Glessner. It looked like they were racing really hard. I think that's no love lost between them. I didn't say that started with the 6th.
See if we could see what happened to those two. And if we could figure out how to work the replay box, that would give us a much better look at what happened out there on track. Try it one more time here. We can see the 1 car of Dale Glessner on the inside of number 7 of Corey Casagrande. Just gets right into the left rear quarter panel of him, spins him right in front of that pack of Bumble trucks right behind them. Both cars...
Yeah, Corey does not get a good exit off that corner, and Dale just was expecting him to get way better of a run and mistimed the judgment getting in line there, got into his left rear.
Yeah, both trucks don't look too terribly damaged.
Yeah, it looks like it's feeding time at the zoo down pit road, though, and... It seems like it's a little early since we're not really even close to the pit window, but is this something, Reggie and Keith, that you guys would expect just because of the abrasiveness of the tire?
I think so. Any caution here? I believe you got multiple sets, so I think you got to just take one here for sure, and then kind of see where it goes. You can make it on fuel to the end, I believe. If not, be close, but you should be able to make it to the end. And if you get another caution, I think you're going to see guys bolt on tires too. NEP is pretty notorious lately for long green flag runs. Kind of got to expect that. You know, the days of kind of saving a set are kind of over just because how long the green flag runs go. Can't really afford to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's for sure. We've had some very clean races. I don't like to say that very often because I don't know if I'm ever going to jinx that. But yeah, we haven't had luckily we haven't had many caution fests, and that was great driving by everyone there with that mishap that did occur, as we had, that could have been a big one right there with everyone
It
coming
looks
in.
like we have a penalty on the one truck of Ryan Messer speeding in the pits. Gonna have to drop to the end of the line. Tough break for the pole sitters. Led every lap so far. Go to the back.
Not only has he led every lap so far, he picked up about a 1.5 gap over the rest of the field.
Yeah,
That one truck is going to be interesting to watch to the end of this race.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
gonna be a tough deal. I don't know. That's track position so important. I mean, I bet he can make it up to the top 10, but then by that point, he's gonna need a caution and get some help to re-stick her up and try again. It's gonna be tough to make all those passes.
Yeah, luckily there's still some time. We've got 2/3 of this race remaining, but yeah, it definitely does seem like it's quite a hard track to pass. So we're gonna see what happens. This is gonna make things interesting though, and for sure worth watching until this thing is over.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us in the booth. We're going to tune in on the broadcast now. Good luck to everybody in the rest of this race.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Field making their way under green once again.
Yes, here we come. And we got Brent Roy leading the field now. With Steven Daddio and Ryan Libby.
Oh, big slide for Ryan Libby. Somehow saved it.
Wow. That was impressive right there. And we saw a save like that last week at Daytona. I can't remember if it was Ryan or if it was someone else. But we saw some having to take some evasive action like that last week too. And some great heads-up driving by everyone once again. As there we see he lost several positions.
Oh, Ryan Messer with another hit to the left rear. He is
boy.
making his way back up through the field, restarted in the 21st position, currently up to 15th, but definitely getting some scrapes and bangs on that truck.
Yeah, that's for sure. He's still doing his thing and is able to get out there. And I want to correct myself from earlier. I thought it said, the scoring said that Chip and Adams were out of the race, but they're still out there. They're doing their thing on the lead lap. So my mistake. Apologize for that. One driver that I don't think made the call for the green, I haven't seen him, was John Peters. So once again, it's gonna be interesting how the championship points shake out. I know these last couple seasons we have had a drop that's been part of the season-long points battle. So we might see that come into play again this year, as Regan Parent and Keith Lord both specified. We still got a lot of racing going on in the South. I'm going to be away actually one of the weeks coming up in about a month because of some racing, some in real life racing still going on. But we got 4 consecutive, this is the second of 4 consecutive weeks of NEP racing going on. And so there's a lot of great action. Brent Roy and Steven Daddio doing a lot right there out front.
Yeah, they were battling side by side there for a couple laps. Right now, they seem to have tamed it all down. Ryan Messer currently up to the 13th position, still trying to make up spots on cars further back in the field. Actually, looks like he just got another one past the 62 of Adam Henry.
Yeah, there's Adam Henry's been doing a good job too. I think it's his 3rd season of competition in NEP. He's getting kind of hung up on the outside right now, and here comes Johnny Miller coming right back in that number 6 truck as he moves back through the field. And then we got a pass in front of them is Dan Winter, and couldn't make out who that was in front of him that was battling there, battling for position as well. So battles all over the place going on right here as we see Winter, and I still can't make out who that truck is. We're still learning some of these new paint schemes for the new season and everything. So that's one of those things that I guess was that Ryan Messer that went by Dan Winter?
I believe it was.
Wow. So he is making some moves pretty quickly.
And actually, since we're not live streaming this one, a little bit of technical difficulties here at the Bizzle Broadcast Center here in Akron, Ohio. I can give you the full quality stream, so now you can actually make out the cars that are on the racetrack.
I still may not be able to tell heads from tails just from 1 week of noticing these trucks, and I think a couple of the schemes have actually changed since last week. So it's one of those things where we're still learning the new schemes this season, and lots of great paint jobs. A lot of them brought to you by U-House Racing Designs. Brandon U-House does a great job designing a lot of the schemes on these trucks throughout the season, and does a lot of great support with the NEP series overall. So a whole lot going on here right now.
Ryan Messer still working his way up through the field, currently in the top 10. He's got about a quarter-second gap to the car in front of him. That's going to be Mario Ercolani in the number 41 car there. And basically the field is single file all the way up to the front.
I don't think it'll be that way for very long, but we'll have to see how this continues on.
Now, currently Brent Roy, about a tenth of a second ahead of Steve Daddio, still pulling away from the rest of this field. The gap is now up to 5 seconds to previous race leader Ryan Messer in the 10th position.
Yeah, but Roy is Daddio is not letting Roy get away. And just like we saw them racing for second position before that first yellow, and now Daddio's peeking inside. I told you it wouldn't be too long until we saw them side by side, or someone side by side with another. Now he thinks a little better of it, tucks right back behind Brent Roy, but I think he's going to try to make a few more attempts like that as we continue on. And one driver that I don't see in the field as well was last week's second place finisher, just by a hair, Evan Bollier. I think he mentioned last week that he was going to be away this week. So we look forward to having him back, and many of these other guys back with us next week. Next week we're going to Myrtle Beach Speedway, so another abrasive track.
Yeah, Evan Bollier. I see it on my race notes here. He was the wild card pick for tonight. He has an average finish of just under 7th place at 1 mile tracks. Actually, the over-under bet on him tonight was 7.5, and unfortunately, not being on track, I guess if you take the over, maybe you win.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you took him in the NEP bets that Arsal, who's also not with us this week, but set us up with some good race notes and information still before he went on his cruise this week. Yeah, if you took him in the bets, I don't think that would have been the best move. I don't think you're winning it this week. And last week's NEP bets winner was Paul Strickland Jr. himself. So I don't know if he placed some bets before heading on down to the Kid Rock's bar in Nashville, or if he decided to take the week off. But a whole lot of people doing a whole lot of different things, but I'm glad that we still have 20-some drivers on this racetrack, Ryan Messer included there. Ryan Libby has been able to recover in that 46 truck as he now runs toward the front once again. And yeah, so we're gonna see how this all shakes out. We are nearing halfway in this race already, and still a long way to go.
Back up to your leaders. Kenny Kibbe in the number 4 truck trying to make a dive to get on the second step of the podium. Currently to the inside of Steve Daddio in the 99. Just nosing ahead at the midpoint of turn number 2. And he's going to get the pass done going down Thunder Alley.
And Kibbe's one to watch. We said that from the beginning. He started 7th last year and won this race in a green-white checker finish. So definitely one of them to watch. I'm sure we might see Ryan Libby kind of get back up there with them. Libby won the pole in this race last year. But yeah, Kibbe really has come on strong as of late. He's up to 2nd now in that number 4 truck. Kibbe from Michigan doing his thing right now. So he's a neighbor of yours up there in Michigan. We have got a couple Michigan drivers, even though it is the NEP series in New England and Northeast and Pennsylvania. But we've got some Michigan drivers. We've got Brent Roy from Canada leading the way. Stephen Daddio from Connecticut. Zane Farrell. We haven't said much about him, but he has snuck up there to 4th. Now he represents Pennsylvania. So we got 4 different states and provinces in the top 4. And it's Zane Farrell, definitely one to watch now in that Tonka truck that he debuted last week. And he finished in 7th place last year in this race after starting in 6th.
Yeah, Ryan Libby making his way up through the field, currently in the 5th position. Ryan Messer, however, in the number 1 place, the number 1 truck. I'm used to the official races where your number 1 means you're the best driver in the field. Not necessarily the case here, but he still might be. Currently making his way up to the 8th position so far, with another pair right in front of him. That'll be a 2-for-1 special if he can get him.
Yeah, and if you notice that on the back of that truck it says MC Hammer, that actually is one of Ryan Messer's actual real-life sponsors. It's called MC Hammer Limited. So it's not actually, can't touch this MC Hammer. That's sponsoring that car, or truck, I should say. And
I know we got at least $100 in the bucket here tonight.
Yeah, I know. It's accumulating once again as we see Joey Dwyer has gone under Ryan Messer now, and now I think that's Jason Ricker that's also using that low line and getting really close to that high line was
Jeffrey Bradway scraping that outside wall.
And yet again, that's Jeffrey Bradway's got a different scheme this week, so he's switching it up. And I know he had an energy drink on his truck last week that was all colorful and whatnot. So Jeffrey Bradway running a different scheme. And I know last week I had him mixed up with someone else. I was saying he was probably not old enough to drink one of those with a vodka, and I was completely wrong. So I apologize for that last week. But right now, Brent Roy is just kind of
cruising away from the rest of the field. About a 2.25 seconds gap to second place Kenny Kibbe. And about a second gap between every car in between. As field making their way through the lap traffic of Austin Bulkley in the number 24 truck.
Yeah, definitely a lot of jockeying for position going on here for sure. And Belkey not having one of his best runs, unfortunately. He's one of them that can sneak up there and have a good run, though. And but not today. But we do have the free pass. You never know what can happen if we end up with a yellow flag. Someone can end up right back into this. So never can count all these drivers out. Just a competitive group of racers, as you've probably learned already.
Yeah, the talent here is immense. If this was a race that I was sanctioning, I can't get drivers nearly as talented. I don't know that we'd even be on lap 30 by now with all the cautions in a series that I sanctioned. So Ryan Libby, currently the fastest truck on track. Last lap for him was a 25.337. Not seeing anyone nearly as fast. I think the only truck faster is Joe Dorian in the number 73 machine. He just turned to 25.294.
Yeah, that's probably about, say, at least a 1.5 seconds off the fastest lap times we'll see. So that's, yeah, we see, and I'm looking at last year, nobody set their, actually several set their fast lap late in the race. So that's actually, I was looking at the wrong stat there. But so that will be interesting to see what happens when we probably have a second round of pit stops. I'm sure we will with how early they pitted. But Kenny Kibbe, last year's winner, set his fast lap on lap 83. Stephen Daddio, who finished second last year, set his fast lap on 82. Brent Roy was third last year, set his fast lap on lap 73. So I don't think we've seen all that's left in these guys just yet as we move further and further into the second half of this event.
Yeah, currently on your ticker is the fastest lap for every driver. We can actually close that one out. We'll drop up the timing tower. And here you can see the fastest lap for each driver, where they currently are in the field. All stacked up right against each other. Seeing some contact a little further up in the field. Doesn't look like it's going to bring out the caution at this time, though. Seems like everyone got it gathered back together.
Yeah, we've got quite a few of these trucks that have gotten awfully close to that outside safer barrier, especially in that turn 4 area. And so I'm guessing just grazing it's not going to do much damage, but if you get a little bit too close too many times, something's going to happen. But yeah, we see. Looks like I'm looking at all the gaps now as we see. There's the front runners have kind of checked out a little bit, and we're starting to get into a little bit of lap traffic. We saw Austin Belke lose a lap a little bit ago. I think Bobby Shipp just lost a lap in the 04. So we're working ourselves into some lap traffic, and before this is over, we might not see a ton of trucks on the lead lap, but right now Brent Roy still picking them up and putting them down, and Kenny Kibbe is up to second with Stephen Daddio now with a mirror full of Ryan Libby.
Yeah, Ryan Libby trying to break himself back into the podium position. Started this race in the third spot, trying to get back up there. Biggest mover so far today is going to be Zane Farrell in the number 14 machine, just behind this bunch. Biggest loser so far is going to be Ryan Messer in that number 1 machine, obviously starting on the pole, sitting here in the 8th position. But since the last restart, I think he's picked up the most out of anyone here.
Yeah, he picked some up at a pretty good clip, but then it's kind of plateaued a little bit. But that's what happens when you get to some of these drivers that become a little harder to pass. And also, if you really go, balls to the wall there to start off a green flag run after taking on new tires, that they're eventually going to level out. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. We see a couple trucks now on pit road already. Not sure who that was, but now still a good battle for third between Stephen Daddio and Ryan Libby. We see one of the trucks coming back on the track. I think that's Austin Belke. Some of these drivers, they already lost a lap, so why not come in for some fresh rubber and try to make up some ground. We see Bobby Shipp out there in the 04 doing his thing, and Kenny Kibbe still running in the second spot. It's going to be interesting to see when these drivers decide to pit. There's still going to be about 35 laps remaining, if not more, if we end up with a green-white checker, to see what's potentially going to happen here. As we saw Jeff Brown going a lap down. Actually, he looks like he's going to come to pit. I thought he was going to come to pit road, but he looks like he might have missed the entrance there. Tough break for Jeff Brown, who I know was looking forward to last week's race at Daytona, had a little bit of bad luck as well.
Yeah, either just missed pit lane or letting these guys go by. I believe he is 1 lap down.
Yeah, Jeff Brown, a gentleman racer in the series. We're always excited when he has a good run, maybe leads some laps. But right now we see, and there you see what the speed difference looks like. Austin Belke, who lost a lap a little bit earlier, is now getting back one of his laps after pitting for fresh tires, while Brent Roy is still on that same rubber from the last caution flag. So definitely might be time to pit here very soon, but we still got some time left as we complete lap number, I thought that was 64. I think I'm losing track of the lap counter here, but we're going to see what lap these drivers decide to pit.
Yep, lap counter currently not working. Went through and tested everything all last night, and fortunately today it does not want to be working. Currently working lap 73 out of 100. We'll go and refresh the graphics here. As watch Brent Roy.
Long.
Yeah, that was a very long lap 63 there. Currently, a bunch of cars headed into the pit lane. Steve Daddio now going to be your race leader. As we go, we'll sit on Daddio here for a second as I get all the graphics refreshed.
And this is going to be interesting, too, to see what happens here. Now, Daddio staying out a little bit longer, another lap or two longer. Now he comes down pit road. Maybe that fresh rubber from staying out a lap might help him. We'll have to see how this all goes. Crawling down pit road. That has to feel like the slowest way to go ever. But
yeah, these drivers losing about a lap and a half every time they enter the pit lane. So whole field is going to be cycled through.
Yeah, we'll see how this all shakes out when we get everything cycled around. So we see Daddy-O back underway.
There it is. Now properly showing we are on lap 76 out of 100.
Now we're just looking at how this is all going to shake around. Jared Adams in the 43 still out there. I saw him on the scoring. He's our sponsored driver of the race. Best career speedway finish was a 14th last season at Michigan. Finished third in the duel 2 weeks ago, but unfortunately was not able to make the call for the green flag. I know he was definitely disappointed that he was not able to, but we still got another restricted plate race later in the season at Talladega, and he's going to try to have his best run that he possibly can here at Rockingham too, as we ride with Joey Dwyer now in that number 73. We're reeling in on 20 laps remaining.
Joey Dwyer, currently being scored as your race leader, has not come to the pits yet.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting strategy right now. You kind of have to, it's a fine line. You kind of have to see how you're going to play this, because what he's probably praying for is a caution, because then he's got a leg up on the field and maybe some luck going his way in that respect. But if you stay out too long and then you come down pit road, you might lose a little bit too much positions. But then we saw Daddy-O kind of gamble and pit a couple laps later than the other leaders. So we'll have to see how it all shuffles out here. I think Daddy-O's actually ahead of where Brent Roy was on the track. So that could have been a maneuver that might make all the difference here as we see how things go. With 20 laps remaining, Joey Dwyer leading Johnny Miller and Scott McDonald at the moment. Jeffrey Bradway down pit road, as I think something might have happened to Brent Roy there, because he's being scored. Well, now he's moving up in the order. Now the pit stops are kind of.
Brent Roy currently scored in the 16th position, so
Yeah,
curious to
but
see
it's
if he got a black flag or not.
Yeah, it's still further back than we thought it would be, because we've got Kenny Kibbe scored in 8th right now, Ryan Messer in 9th. So that's interesting. What might be going on there? Definitely some things to look out here once things shuffle back out.
John Miller. Yep, currently coming down the pit lane. Looks like Joe Dwyer also entering the pit lane here. So he's going to relinquish the lead to Scott McDonald, who is currently out on the racetrack in turn 4, not taking the pits this time by.
Yep, he's going to stay out. Once again, kind of some of these guys are probably hoping for a yellow. And then you'll have some very, you really advance with the track position for sure, as the number 44 truck continuing to ride out there. He lets one of the trucks that has already pitted go on by. I think that was Jeffrey Bradway in the 13. So we continue to, with closing in on 15 laps to go. The drama is picking up, as we're going to see who can stay out. Right now, Scott McDonald and Adam Henry are the two drivers that have stayed out, and we see McDonald stays out yet another lap. Dan Winter goes by him, and Winter currently riding in about 15th spot. But there's Kenny Kibbe. He's going to go by Adam Henry in the 62, like he was standing still. Kenny Kibbe might be the one to beat here in the number 4 truck. He has broken out to a pretty impressive lead on Ryan Messer in the number 1. Is that Messer that right there?
Yep, Ryan Messer in the number 1 truck here on the high line.
I misjudged that then.
Currently, timing and scoring on my end is showing Ryan Messer and Kenny Kibbe both tied for the 2nd position. Obviously, that cannot be true as of the current circumstances.
Well, last week at Daytona, we only had a margin of victory. I think it was .004 seconds. So It was nearly a tie then. We had to kind of go by scoring to figure out, who won this race. So Kenny Kibbe was able to get by Ryan Messer, and that might ultimately be your pass for the win, but we still got 13 more laps to settle this thing. So we still got, we're nearing 10 laps to go here shortly. Kenny Kibbe continuing just to pretty much ride and log some laps here. He has pretty much lengthened that gap that I mentioned, which is still on Scott McDonald according to scoring. But I know, like you said, we're having a couple little glitches with scoring right now. I believe Ryan Messer has moved up to second. I think we just saw him there in the shot. So Messer's going to try to chase Kibbe back down and see what he can do here these last 10 laps.
He's right on board a couple laps with Ryan Messer in that number 1 machine. Now you could see and feel just how bumpy this racing surface is.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you can see he's holding a pretty smooth wheel though, nonetheless. And that's when you know you got a pretty well handling truck, and that's what it takes here at place like Rockingham.
Not chasing the truck up the racetrack, not putting a whole ton of opposite lock, or what we call here in the States counter steer, exiting the corners or in the mid corners. So really just a fantastic drive out of Ryan Messer.
Yeah, definitely. You kind of ask what might have been if he didn't get, I think it was a penalty there, that last yellow, and had to start from the back. So would he be leading by half a lap or something like that? I doubt it with the skill that Kenny Kibbe has, but right now Kibbe's got the track position on Ryan Messer. And here comes Steven Daddeo again, now back up to third in that number 99 as far as we know.
Kibbe has the track position.
Yes, for sure.
But Kenny Kibbe's last lap was a 25.378, nearly a second faster as Ryan Messer in the second spot with a 24.408. With a gap of only 2 seconds, that's about 2.5 laps before he's going to be right at the rear bumper of Kenny Kibbe.
Yeah, and then we'll see if he's able to get by Messer. Obviously, Daddy will have to get by Messer first if he's going to try to get this position. Here he goes. Steven Daddeo peaking low. We'll see if Ryan Messer is going to race him pretty hard here, or if Messer gets all the way up to that outside wall right there. And it looks like Daddeo is going to take that second spot with 6 laps remaining. We're coming to 6 laps remaining. Now we'll see if Daddeo can chase Kibbe down. So we're coming to 5 laps to go. Daddeo only opening up a couple car lengths on Messer for the moment. It might be Kenny Kibbe's race to lose, but we've seen these races, especially here at Rockingham, come down to green, white checker finishes in the past. Something could happen. So stay with us. You might want to see how this ends for sure. As right now, Kenny Kibbe leading Steven Daddeo and Ryan Messer. Ryan Libby back up to 4th in the number 46 truck. And just wanted to mention, it looks like we've got, again, I don't want to rely on scoring necessarily, but I think Jared Adams is up to 14th in that number 43. And we did mention his best speedway finish last season was a 14th. So matching that, there's Jared Adams. We didn't get to see that new paint scheme on that 43 last week at Daytona, unfortunately. But now we see him out there on the tracks in the Adams.
Currently, Jared Adams, unfortunately, is 2 laps down in the 18th position. It's counting a lot of the spots as duplicates. So we have 2 third-place drivers, 2 sixth-place drivers. Unfortunately, some timing and scoring issues going on. What we do know is correct is that Kenny Kibbe up here out of turn number 4 is your race leader, and Steve Daddeo right behind him, about a half a straightaway behind him, 2 seconds back, is going to be in the second position. That we know for sure with certainty.
And right there, Kibbe just took the 2 laps to go, so we're going to see the white flag come out, and now he's got a bunch of lap traffic here. that he's approaching. So I don't know if this it might still be too big of a gap, but Kibbe is going to have to work this. But of course, if Kibbe has to work the lap traffic, so does Daddy-O. So he's going to take the white flag. Or did he take the white flag that time, or is it the next time by?
It should be the next time by.
So we're on lap 99.
Currently working lap 99. Unfortunately, I'm just going to kill the graphics here because they are no longer updating once again.
So there's Kenny Kibbe. He did get around Adam Henry, and now it looks like he's kind of backed off a little bit.
There's Barney throwing the white flag.
There he is. Yeah, Kenny Kibbe. Or Paul said our flagman this year is Bubbles.
Bubbles, that is right.
Yes. So Kenny Kibbe in that number 4, a great turnaround from being absent from Daytona. He's going to take that number 4 truck through turns 3 and turns 4. And he is going to come around and take the checkered flag for his first win of the 2025-2026 NEP season. Kenny Kibbe from Michigan in the number 4 truck. And I believe it was Steven Daddy-O coming home in second. And in third, it was Ryan Messer, I believe.
I think so. I am refreshing my timing and scoring here now that the race is over. I can get the post-race results up to you, and we can see exactly where all these drivers finished.
Yes, and while we're doing that, my skills have seemed to work as I brought Kenny Kibbe in here. And Kenny, congratulations on the victory here at Rockingham 2 years in a row.
Yeah, for sure. Feels awesome. This is I really enjoy this track, and honestly, I don't think we were going to be in a great position to win, but it was just so hard to pass. But we just executed better than everybody else, and that ended up being the ticket.
Yeah, and what ended up being the difference there? Was it pit strategy? I know you pitted and Brent Roy pitted around the same time. I know Brent had some problems in the pits the second round there, and then under yellow, Ryan Messer had an issue. So I guess kind of keeping it pretty calm there on pit road made a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't beat yourself, you know. I know Messer, I think he sped on pit road under that caution. And I believe Brent had a blend line violation on the pit exit on the green flag stop, which I don't know if you guys caught on camera, but him and I were actually racing coming out of the pits, and he just came up too high, too early, I guess. But yeah, just not, not stepping on yourself was kind of the key, because long green flag runs, mistakes like that are just going to kill you. And it was actually a risk that we kind of all took to take our last set of tires with 30 laps to go. If we would have gotten a caution at the end, the guys who pitted later there towards the end, they would have been in the catbird seat. But it all played out.
Yeah, we definitely mentioned that. And I know this is huge for you, because about partway through Daytona last week, I was like, where's Kenny Kibbe at? So a nice recovery from being absent last week, I'm sure.
Yeah, we were out of town last week, so we had to watch from the sidelines, and luckily our teammate Steve won the first week, and then we pick up the win this week. So great start for Four Wide Weaponry, and want to give a shout out to our boss, if you will, Ryan Salvatore. He's on vacation / birthday trip, whatever it is. Happy birthday to Sal, and glad I could pick up the win for him.
Yeah, sure. And before we get your teammate into the room here to talk about his runner-up finish, tell us who gets you to and from the virtual racetrack.
Yeah, just thank everybody at NEP for coming together every week. This was an awesome race. One caution race, that's awesome, just from the field in general. I like seeing long green flag runs. Guys at Four Wide Weaponry again, Steve, Sal, Austin, and myself. It's the best team out there. This season I'm running, you might catch it on my passenger side door. One of our family friends, his name's Jack Beardsley, a big racing fan. He got diagnosed with brain cancer not that long ago. And so I'm running this season with him in my passenger seat. So every good run we get this season is going to go to him.
That's great. We're definitely all thinking of him for sure. So once again, congratulations, Kenny Kibbe. Before we bring Steven Daddy-O in, Bizzle, I guess you can bring up those race results if you got them ready.
I do, and there they are. So Kenny Kibbe finishing in the top spot. Second place is going to be Steve Daddio. Third is going to be Ryan Messer. Ryan Libby in the fourth spot. And rounding out your top five is going to be Jason Ricker. So
yeah, a lot of drivers have
5.5 seconds, basically crossing out your top five.
Yeah, and some solid runs there in the second half of the top 10. Joey Dwyer and Zane Farrell. Zane had a podium finish last week at Daytona, so starting off the season well. Jeffrey Bradway finishing in 8th. Corey Casagrande and Mike Hopkins with a couple nice turnarounds there to round out the top 10 as we see the rest of the finishing order now on the screen. The Ship brothers finishing 14th and 15th. Didn't get to talk much about them. Adam Henry there staying out, was gambling a little bit. Same with Scott McDonald. But unfortunately, that gamble didn't pay off. They're going to finish 17th, 18th. Jared Adams, we were talking about him, finishes 19th. And there you see the remainder of the finishing order. Brent Roy coming home in 22nd after that blend line violation during green flag pit stops. So we'll bring in Steven Daddio now. And
Hold on.
there he is. Steven Daddio, second place. Not a bad way to I know you probably wanted to start off with a couple wins, but not a bad way to start the season off with a win in a second.
No, not at all. Yeah, this place is great. It's in the trucks. It's you probably could see it on the broadcast. It's just if you've got two fast trucks and you're the guy trailing, it's that dirty air. Whatever the guys at iRacing did, they did a really good job because it's just like real life. You get behind somebody and all of a sudden the thing don't want to turn on you. So, you kind of got to go around and move around and use different lines. And my plan was always to kind of burn them up early and see what the truck is really going to do in situations where I might need to figure it out late. And I kind of found out real quick, if you got a fast truck in front of you, you really don't have much of a shot unless you can really just outwheel them. And here it's tough. There's a lot of ways to get that momentum off the corner. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun running with the guys up front there. Congrats to Kibbe on the win.
Yeah, for sure. And we talked about the pit strategy. I know you kind of, I wouldn't say gambled, but you waited like another lap or so to come in during that second round. Do you think that made a difference, or do you think, or were everyone just kind of playing different strategies, seeing what would come out of it?
Yeah, so I was, it's, there's a lot going on in that race, but I think at that point the leaders were pitting. So I'm like, all right, they're diving down. It would, if I get to lead a lap, I get a point for the point standings. And I don't know, Brent and Kibbe were just so dang fast. And I didn't want a chance trying to gain, positions getting to pit road before they did and wreck my race and, maybe somebody else's. So I was like, let's get the point. Let's get some tires and maybe we get a yellow and we can battle it out at the end there. So that's really all that was. And then I think I caught a little bit of lat traffic. I don't know if I went two. I think I only went one, but then brought her down. Tires really matter after about 20 laps, especially if you're really pushing down. You're really pushing it all. Tires really mattered.
And we're going to another track next week where tires probably matter, Myrtle Beach. So that's another one that shorter track, which should have maybe some more closer racing. But I know that's another one where you got to kind of strategize.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a place where you can actually fit it with your brake bias too, and it helps the truck turn a little bit differently, and you can end up saving wide arc into one, and then you really got to wheel into 3 and 4, and just keep all 4 wheels under you, keep the contact patch on the asphalt, and don't burn them up. And you can get some speed over the long run there. But yeah, like you said, if it's a short track with 10 to go, though, tires don't really matter. Just put it to the wood and go for it. So I'm looking forward to that track. I seem to not fade but struggle a little bit on the short tracks, and I haven't really figured that out yet. My strengths are really the 1.5 miles. So still looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun run.
Oh yeah, for sure. Join us next Thursday for that, and give you another chance to thank those that help you get here. And we didn't mention it. I think I mentioned it on the broadcast, but not in the interview last week. But you might be there. might be thanking some of these same people for getting a car back on the real life racetrack next year.
Yeah, we'll save that for the end of this. But first, got to thank Four Wide, especially Sal. He called in from the cruise. You know, he was having a good time rubbing it in our faces. But you know, shout out to him. Shout out to Kenny again for the win, and Austin. Always fun running with those guys. Daddy was Auto Parts, Reverie Brewing, YRD, all my friends and family out there, mom and dad watching on the broadcast always. Um, yeah, you know, you guys up in the booth and the guys that run this league, you know, every Thursday, we always look forward to Thursday. This is fun. And as far as the car goes, we bought a limited late model. It's been a long time coming. I ran quite a bit ago now in the street stock division there, and just been itchy. And an opportunity presented itself, and we're going for it. So bought a really good piece off of some really good guys, and you know, I wouldn't say we have expectations, but I think we're going to be good. You know, my dad's really good with the car, and we got some really good help behind us, and it'll be a limited schedule, but I think I'm hoping you know, somebody remembers my name after this season. You know, I think we're going to run really well.
All right, that's your runner up tonight. Off to a great start with the NEP season, and you might see him at Stafford Motor Speedway a little bit next season. So that's Steven Daddio, your runner up.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Sure. And let's bring in the third place driver here quickly to finish things off. If I can get it right here. My mouse is not. Here we are. Let's bring in Ryan Messer if he lets us come in here. There he is.
Oh, Kenny's, yeah.
I got you, Steven Daddio, again.
I'll do an interview again if you want.
Trying to double dip.
I was at a race on Saturday night, and the third place finisher, yeah, he had to go use the little boys' room, and his brother got in the car, and then the announcer came over and started interviewing him. So let's try to get Ryan Messer in
See
here.
if we can move him up here. Oh, you got him already. Beat me to it.
All right. Ryan Messer, third place finish. I know it's nice to be on the podium, but I know it's kind of, I'm sure it's probably a little bit of a what if, right?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely feel like we had the truck to get a little bit more than that, but that's the way it goes. Kind of did it to myself. I think they made the pit road speed a little bit more picky, I guess, and I just didn't take much, and I got the penalty, so I had to come from the back and got up to the front pretty quick, but then the tires kind of fell off a cliff, so I had limited options, so I went for it, pitted real early, and got the lead again, but I knew I was a sitting duck up there, so held on for what we could, but we almost had it.
Yeah, and that was a pretty good battle there. Trying to hold on to that second spot with Steven Daddio marching towards you. I mean, take us through like how much of a handful does it become at Rockingham when those tires start to go away?
Just when you got it all kind of under control and you're just logging laps, and just it only takes a couple laps of upping your pace a little bit, and then it's just like, what happened to this thing? Like, it just kind of like a flip of a light switch. So you really got to try to manage it. Did pretty good while trying to come from the back, and then just like say like a light switch, and then it's just you're hanging on for dear life. So tried to do that on that last run and was able to get to the front, but I knew it was only a matter of time, and if I got a yellow, that was probably going to be even worse. So just to hang on for a podium is perfectly good with me.
Yeah, and I'm sure with the speed that you've shown these first couple weeks, I'm sure this is really has you optimistic for these upcoming weeks. We got Myrtle Beach next week, and then the road race at Lime Rock the following week. A lot of variation, but I know you've shown what you can do at all these different kinds of tracks.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Myrtle Beach. Had really good speed the last couple of years there, and road courses are kind of hit or miss. I haven't really run Lime Rock a whole lot, so we'll have to learn that one. But no, excited for the next few weeks.
All right, now we'll give you a chance to thank those who get you to and from the virtual track, and also in real life.
Yeah, I just got to thank. I know some of my family's probably at home watching. They always like to tune into these things in the off season, so Shout out to them. Shout out to the NEP guys for putting this on, and Vidane for broadcasting. It's lots of fun to go on and race in the off season.
All right, that's your third place finisher, Ryan Messer, and Bizzle. I'll kind of turn it back to you here as we start to wrap things up. Thanks for putting on this show in Paul's absence for sure.
Yeah, I want to thank Paul for letting me run this thing. I apologize that I couldn't get on air here tonight. Went through testing everything all during the week, making sure I got back up to speed. It's been a couple of years since I've done this iRacing broadcasting stuff, and unfortunately, when it came showtime to hit the button, just didn't work. But hopefully you all really enjoyed the recording. I know we had some timing and scoring issues just with the graphics, working the kinks out. We're trying to get the Bizzle production studio back up and running. So hopefully there's more to come, and hopefully we can put on a better show for you next time.
We also thank Keith Lord and Regan Parent for popping in earlier in the event as well to kind of give some insight on this Rockingham Speedway track. We look forward to having them back in an NEP race here in the near future. So, yeah, we had a good time here at Rockingham. We'll see you at Myrtle Beach Speedway, and I don't want to steal Paul's thunder too much, but I will say when we'll be doing it live.
Well, thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully we'll catch you again next week at Myrtle Beach.